going on? Blossom is back, and welcome back to another episode of Top Drives. Now, it's been a week since the release of JPT, and I guess we can say that the hype is starting to die down a little bit. Ironically, because those special packs, those special elite offers for JPT, they're not even released yet. But I digress. We've had our pack openings, we've had our first looks, we've had the review of the patch notes. Now I think it's time to get into the nitty-gritty, right? I want to see what you guys think about the update 1 week into, it being released. I want to know what I think about the update, weigh the pros and the cons. But also, another thing is what I'm going to cover in this video today is I want to analyze and look at all the tiny little RQ changes happening to all the cards that got RQ changes. What makes these so interesting for me is because this gives me an insight of how Hutch developers or how Top Drives or the Top Drives team look at some of these cars. Are they, in tune with, I guess, the more experienced players? Do I agree that these cars should go up, or should I disagree that these cars go down? So what makes this so interesting is, if for example, the GMC Caballero, if it goes up to F11 to F12, it probably means that someone at the Top Drives team has pointed out, hey, this car seems to be pretty good. A lot of people are using it. The win rate is really good. We should move it up in RQ. So I want to see if they are in tune with, I guess, me as an experienced player, and just see how accurate these are, in my opinion. At the end of the day, it's my personal opinion if I'm going to agree with these increases or decreases. So with that said, let's get into it. Starting us off here are going to be coming in these RQ10s. Now, first off, right off the bat, this Alfa Romeo Sprint GT, I can definitely agree. That should go up to F11. That's a Blossom choice car. Fantastic. What makes it so good is that the handling is actually quite competent, and the 0 to 60 is also pretty good for a, I would say, RQ10 car. I mean, when you compare the Alfa Romeo to the Lancia, that's a 7 handling difference, and that's actually huge, especially that both of these cars were in the same RQ, and they still are going to be that way moving up to F11. I have to say, though, I disagree with the Lancia. I think the Lancia was a great RQ10 car. I don't know why it's moved up to 11. Now, moving on with the rest of the list, the Caballero, that's a tough one, because when you max that out 332, it has 7.6. But the thing is, I don't know, I guess since they are moving the Biposto up one, then moving the Caballero up one also makes sense. And then obviously if you move the Biposto up one, you have to move the Lancia and the Fiat Supersonic. So far, I guess, yeah, it's actually quite accurate. The Alfa Romeo 750, another Blossom choice car, fantastic little beast. It basically is a same version of the Sprint, but I think this is medium. It has to be, because the stats are what, so this has to be medium. So let's see what else is going up. The Grand Tura is going up. That makes sense. It hits 80 handling. The MK1 Cortina, that's also a really fantastic car. Now, these cars that I'm pointing out, like the Grand Tura, the Cortina, these are cars that I agree with. But there's some cars here, like the Vauxhall Cavalier. I've never really used it, so I guess it's a good thing that it's actually going down. So I need to really look for cars where I think are crap, and if they're going up, that means I disagree. But so far, I would say it is quite accurate. The GT1000, yep, that I don't know if that should go up to 14. I think it was pretty good where it was at a 13. So that one's pretty interesting. Yes, the Twizy should be going down. I feel like the Twizy is incredibly overrated. I don't think it's a 16. A lot of people think that they should get it because, the Twizy F1 is so good. This is a really light car. But the reality is, right, the top speed at 50, it won't get 0 to 60. It has no 0 to 60 time, and it doesn't handle. 69 is not that good for an RQ16 vehicle. So far, I would say definitely pretty good with the commons. The Peugeot 301, now this one I disagree with. I think that should stay 17. It has standard tires, ABS, and traction. That's not a lot of commons. Not a lot of commons have ABS and traction, and it hits 80 handling. I get it, the 0 to 60 is horrendous, but it really doesn't matter. I only use it for twisty tracks. I was okay with it as a 17, but since it's moving down to a 16, I guess that's a win for us, right? It's a 1 RQ saved for a very good car. That only makes the 301 better in my opinion. Moving on, I don't see any anomalies here. The TVR moving up from 16 to 17, I agree with that. That's a fantastic car, a Blossom choice as well. And for those of you guys asking, like I said, now we're getting into the nitty gritty. Now that we're a week in, expect to see some changes to Blossom choice very soon, because I know that people are going to ask. So we have our first big change here, the Suzuki Ertiga, just a huge, a 0 to 60 change, and that's about it. The handling is still the same though, the handling hasn't changed. So with that standard tire, with 24 handling, I would say it's actually not bad. That's a car that I would definitely look forward to getting. Also the 0 to 60, 12.3 compared to the Splash's 13.9. You know what? The Ertiga doesn't look that bad of a common now. The Ford Mustang going up, yeah, that's a fantastic car. Medium ground clearance, low 0 to 60, a great all-rounder. The Lacetti is moving down because it's getting a handling change. The Volkswagen Up going to 19 to 18, that's pretty interesting. I thought that the Volkswagen Up was a decent 19 because once again, it's able to hit 80 handling, kind of like that Peugeot, has traction, has ABS, has medium ground clearance. It's a twisty car. So that one I feel like it's like it was a decent 19, but now it's a good 18. XK120 moving up to 18. That one is pretty interesting. It is a pretty decent dragger, but I don't know. I never really used it that much when it was a 17 anyway. The Pontiac, this one's definitely going up. Lancia, that's definitely going up. This one's a Blossom choice as well. Honda Beat, a lot of people said that the Honda Beat has died in this event because not only has the Honda Beat gone up in RQ, making it more expensive to use, JPT has also brought a lot of great common cars which are going to, you know, beat the Honda Beat. I think, for example, the Suzuki Cappuccino is capable of beating the Honda Beat on the slalom, and the Cappuccino I think is RQ14, so that's a bit yikes over there. I think that maybe the Cappuccino, I think it's a 14 right now, should move up to a 15. The Beat should probably stay at 17. I don't think the Beat is worthy of being an 18 RQ car. I just don't. The Signa moving on to 18, that makes sense. I always thought it was a pretty underwhelming 19 car because it doesn't handle. So moving on to uncommons now. Oh, and one more anomaly is the BMW 2800 CS went up to 18 to 19. I'm gonna be real with you. I have two of these, Max. Had a lot of hope for that common. Not worth it. Not worth it. It wasn't worth it as an 18. It's definitely not worth it as a 19. If you ask me, I think that BMW is a RQ17 car. Moving on to commons now. They have the country buggy moving down. That's a huge disappointment. I love how everybody was trying to get the country buggy because, oh my god, off-road tires. But at the end of the day, it doesn't have that four-wheel drive drivetrain. The 0 to 60 is literally, 30 seconds, right? Almost 30 seconds. What's the distance that I can run in 30 seconds? Oh, I'm not gonna do math. I do about like a 428 kilometer, but yeah, I don't know how 30 seconds is how much of a kilometer. I don't know. I'm not even gonna try. This is interesting. Mercedes-Benz 300 SL going from RQ21 to 20. I don't know if the Mercedes-Benz has got like an MRA change. I gotta check the patch notes for that, but I would say that it was a decent RQ21. It was a Blossom choice. It's a car that knows what it's good at. It's a test bowl car. So at the end of the day, you don't really want to put it in the quarter or the half. I bet the win-loss ratios are atrocious for the 300 SL on the quarter or the half. But on the test bowl, it's fantastic. I think it was a decent 21. It would be a fantastic 20 as well. The patrols moving down. Yep, a lot of the SUVs, especially the Japanese SUVs, got their handling chopped. And don't take this as a one-off thing. I feel like a lot of the SUVs in top drives are going to get their handling chopped. I think Hutch wants to change the scales for handling and making the SUVs handle a little less, because there were Japanese SUVs managing to hit 84, 85, which was a little bit sus, to be fair. So I do agree that they should cut all of the handlings from all of the SUVs. But the way that Hutch did it, I disagree with, because so far they've only cut it for like some of the Japanese SUVs, leaving some of the non-Japanese SUVs to still have some pretty OP handling numbers. If they want to cut, handlings for SUVs, just do it for all of it, make things consistent. So far, I just don't think that cutting it on Japanese cars alone is consistent enough. But yeah, moving on now, Scirocco going from 20 to 21, I have to agree, the Scirocco is probably one of my most used RQ21 cars because it's just a decent all-rounder, so that's moving up. AutoZone is moving down as a bit of a surprise because 87 handling, standard tires, super light car. I ain't complaining about that. Opel Kadett is moving down. I don't agree with that as well. That's a huge Blossom choice car. Medium ground clearance, lightweight, 85 handling. I feel like they moved it down because the pick rate of the Opel Kadett wasn't very high, and my pick rate of the Opel Kadett isn't very high either. The problem is there are not a lot of events where the Opel Kadett actually flourishes, but when that event comes, it flourishes, hence why I've given it the Blossom Choice tag. So I'm pretty surprised to see that it moved down in RQ, but not as surprised as seeing the Slingshot moving down from 24 to 23. Can you believe that? If you asked me, the Slingshot should have deserved an upgrade. It should have been 25. It was beating, RQ29 cars on G-forces and slaloms and twisty roads For it to move down to 23, once again, it's a win for us for the players that own it, because that's a 1 RQ profit that we can use into other hands. But I don't agree. I don't think it should be 23. I think it should be 25. Moving on the list, I mean, all of these cars are kind of irrelevant to me. The Patrol, rest in peace to the Patrol. This was my go-to uncommon all-surface tire car, but it got his handling cut from 71 to 69, so you know it's a minuscule change, but that also changed like the game for my go-to all-surface tire car. Now I'm looking at the Ford Ranger, because the Ford Ranger handles a little better, and I always go for handling when it comes to off-road situations. The Mexico moving down, I get it. It's once again, it's the same situation, the Mexico and the 300 SL, right? You only use these cars for basically one track set, and that's the test bowl. But you know, when you put them on the test bowl, they are going to get your results. What else here? I don't really own any of these. I own, of course, you know, the Patrol. I own the Crown Victoria, but you know, them moving up or down in RQ by 1, I'm okay with that. Rest in peace, by the way, to the Skyline Hardtop. How far this car has fallen. It used to be my go-to rare city streets car, and then I found out that the Chevette was better, so I started using the Chevette, and then now it has gotten this amazing, like a just drastic drop from 39 to 27. I mean, just look at how they killed my boy. Handling cut, the top speed increased surprisingly, but the acceleration was cut as well, so that was you know, unfortunate. The Ford, I agree that it should go down, but I don't think it should be 27. I think that this Ford should be 26 or 25. It's quite useless, not a great dragger, doesn't handle, and there's not much you can do with it really. Yes, the Verano, I agree that should go up. It has 86 handling, it's a bit of a beast. Here's one that's interesting, the Peugeot 309 GTI. This is the best uncommon at the city streets small, for crying out loud. So seeing this going down from 29 to 28 is a bit of a shocker. But you know, once again, I guess it's a plus for everybody that owns it, because we got a 1 RQ increase, a 1 RQ profit. The Maserati Indy going down, I agree with that. It's a pretty useless 29, but I do love the car nonetheless. The Honda Civic moving up, I can see that. The Challenger moving down, that's true. It's just not as good as the Mustang Boss. I would choose the Mustang Boss over the Challenger. I feel like the Challenger, I think it deserves to be 28. The Mustang Boss actually stayed at 27. I think the Mustang Boss should have gone up to 28. Having both the Challenger and the Boss at 28, I agree with that. But the Boss is still 7 as I'm making this video. So moving on to the rares now, let's see if there's anything I agree or disagree with. The Mazda going from 31 to 30, this is going to make the Mazda MX-5 a very useful car. The same thing for this MX-5. Both these MX-5s going from 31 to 30, and that is huge. These two are going to be fantastic RQ30 cars. I mean, when you think about it, this is 89 handling standard tires, 87 handling with a much lower 0 to 60 with performance tires. Those are some great RQ30s. Once again, the Subaru Leon going down. You know, I feel like Hutch, they look at the stats. When it comes to, you know, changing the cars, they look at the stats, and they take the stats by basically the throat, and they follow it, right? That is all they follow, the stats, the stats, the stats. You got to really be an experienced player. You got to play the game to know if some car should go up or go down, because I feel like they look at the Subaru Leon and they're like, oh, it has an atrocious, you know, loss ratio. I can see the Leon having a very high loss percentage, and that's probably why they brought it down from 31 to 30. The thing is that, right, the Leon is a fantastic car. The main reason why it has such a high loss ratio, what I believe it has a high loss ratio, is because everybody is using it, because this is a great car to lose by only by 50. Right? And you know me, or you know the strategy of the game. If you lose by 50, that might be a win in some cases, because a loss by 50, that might also mean that you have saved maybe, you know, 10 to 12 RQ compared to your opponent. So I don't know, man. The Leon, the Mazdas, I think they should have stayed 31. Personally, I think the Subaru Leon should have even gone up to 32. But maybe they moved it down because some of the JPT Subarus that are four-wheel drive and standard were better. But then again, I need to familiarize myself with all the Subarus. It's really hard when you're not a Subaru fan and you're telling yourself, okay, I need to memorize like 50 different WRXs. It's hell. But yeah, Lil Ram going down, I agree with that. Oh yeah, because it went from standard to performance tires. You know what though? That would be a pretty good car now at RQ31. It still handles, it maintains its handling. It is, I think, still medium ground clearance. That's going to be a pretty good car, to be fair. That's going to be a pretty good car. I do agree with the Punto going down. I don't agree with this Punto going down. This Punto is better than this Punto, which means that this should have stayed 32. That should go 31. So I disagree with this one. That's an amazing car, that Punto. 85 handling, medium ground clearance, incredibly lightweight. The BMW, that's going up. You know what? First of all, even if you didn't change the handling, I feel like this should have gone up to 31. It's a fantastic car. Now that you changed the handling, moving it up to 32, that makes sense. The Giulietta, I don't know, man. I feel like that should have stayed 31. Trans Am moving on 33, completely agree with that. The Trans Am just gets no use. 77 handling max is not going to get you anywhere, especially if no 0 to 60 as well. Elan moving down, that's pretty interesting. Great handling, lightweight, standard tire, medium ground clearance, but unfortunately it doesn't seem to be the case, and is moving down. The Almera got a huge cut from standard tires to performance and a picture change as well, but I have to say for an RQ36, that Almera would be pretty good. It has medium ground clearance still, 87 handling, not a bad car if you ask me with performance tires. I did not have it as a super rare, so I'm going to have it as a rare. The Montreal going from 35 to 36, that's pretty interesting. I would not really agree with that. The Primera, the Primera is a bit of a strange one. It was a 37, but I feel like if it stayed 37, I could see that. But now that the Primera is 36, I would have to say that's a pretty good car. Not fantastic, but pretty good. Vitara getting a huge handling cut. That is unfortunate, but the 0 to 60, I mean, that's a huge boost, so that's nice. I own one of those. This is a big change as well. 72 to 68 handling, off-road tires to standard. I think they killed the Escort because 68 handling and standard, it's gonna get you nowhere. I don't think as a standard tire car this should be RQ37. If you ask me, 34. If you're feeling generous, 35, but definitely a 34 car. I would choose standard tire cars that are capable of handling over the Escort any day of the week. So let's see what else I am moving. Oh yeah, of course, this is a huge one. The Dodge Charger RT moving up to 36 to 39. I think that is justified. A lot of people were saying that it should be super rare. Maybe it should have been, but then again, a lot of people are hoarding the Chargers, including me. And I feel like Hudson didn't want to change some of the higher ranks, so people were denied of being able to manipulate, these RQ changes and these upgrades, I guess. Because if let's say you hoarded the Charger and you weren't a fan, right? Like I am. You were planning to use, 15 new super rares to max out a new ultra rare. So I guess Hutch was trying to deny that. I think that it is a fantastic car. It was an OP 36. It's still a very good 39. If the Charger moved up to a super rare, I wouldn't bat an eye. It deserves to be there. But as a 39, I feel like, yeah, give it the same pedestal with the Charger and the Ghibli SS. They deserve to be in the same place, and that's where they are now. So I kind of agree with that. And last but not least, we're going to end off with the two BMWs. I'll do a part 2 where I go from super rares all the way to legendary. So we're going to start with the BMW 325. Disagree. I don't think it should move up to 39. I am a huge fan of this upgrade though. 66 to 70 handling. It has 4-wheel drive. It has standard tires. You know what? This BMW 525iX might be the car to watch now. I'm going to do some tests and see how well the 525i performs. I do have it max, so we are getting a 4-wheel drive standard tire car with 77 handling. The only problem is I know that there is one Subaru out there that is also 4-wheel drive and standard that is capable of hitting 80 handling. It's RQ36 because the 0 to 60 is really bad, but at the end of the day, when it comes to twisty track sets, all you care about is the handling. So I don't know. The 525 might be a really good 39, or it might be a disappointment. I still need to test it out. It's nice to see the Malibu going back up to 39. I think it deserves to be there. It's a great saloon with traction, ABS, medium ground clearance, 86 handling, standard tires. It's a jack of all trades. The Benz though, moving up to 38, I don't agree with that. I felt like the Benz was a very weak 38, and I feel like I would be more comfortable, and I would agree if it moved down to 37. Moving it up to 39, that might make it one of the worst RQ39s in the game. Jesus. All right. Anyway, that's going to be it. That's going to be part 1 of my RQ review. Let me know what you think, and let me know if you agree with these changes or not. But with that said, I hope you guys have a great day. Stay safe, wash your hands, and blossom out. Peace.